Hi there, Rhythm Reading Bootcamp, Season 2, Episode 8, nearly at the end, almost there, stay with me. So far in this series we've covered a lot of ground. We've talked all about these rhythmic figures, things that involve 4 16th notes in a beat, things that involve combination of 2 16th notes and 1/8 note. We've looked at dotted 8th notes in combination with 16th. We've talked about 16th note rests and how to move those through the beat, and possibilities of all the fragments that involve 1 or 2 16th note rests. Today we're going to round off the rest chapter by looking at 2 fragments that involve 3 16th note rests in a beat. The quick of mind amongst you will realise that there are 4 possibilities, obviously, of 1 16th note and 3 16th note rests, but I am assuming by this point in the game that you are more than capable of putting a single 16th note on the downbeat and then one on the and. So we're going to focus on this thing, which just has a single 16th on the E, and then this one, which involves a single 16th on the A of the beat. So again, hopefully by this point, playing a note on the E won't be too challenging for you, and just playing a single note on the A won't be too difficult either. You should have a really firm grasp of how each point in the subdivision really feels. If you've glossed over previous episodes, if you skipped the prep exercises, if you haven't gone through all the stuff in the book that gets you ready to be at this point, go and do so now. Otherwise, chances are you might struggle with this. We're going to pile straight in, introduce those 2 16th note fragments that are new in combination with other things we looked at. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if you just think about that fragment that involves a dotted 8th note rest followed by a 16th note, we just got an attack on the A of the beat. Now another situation where you could encounter that rhythm or that attack at that point in the beat is if we have this, and this is a double dotted quarter note. What does that mean? Well, we should be familiar with dotted quarter notes. A dot at the side of a note head adds half of the original value. A double dot adds a further 25% of the original note value. So to break that down, got a quarter note. We're going to dot it, which effectively adds an 8th note. The double dot then adds a further 16th note. So the whole thing is worth 7 16th notes, or 1 3/4 beats worth of time. If you're one of those people that owns a copy of this book, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, The Life and Music of Legendary Bassist James Jamerson, which, let's face it, every bass player should own a copy of this, because, in my opinion, it contains some of the most incredible, most amazing, most joyous expressions of melody, harmony and rhythm ever captured on tape. And it's just an absolute treasure trove of creative bass playing. Well worth checking out if you don't own it. If you have that book, that was a long way of saying that if you have that book and you looked at the transcription of what's going on, you'll be really familiar with double dotted quarter notes because they're everywhere in that transcription. Let's put this thing into practice. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, in this series, we've covered 17 different rhythmic fragments involving 16th notes, 8th notes, dotted 8ths, rests, double dotted quarter notes, you name it, we've done it. You should be comfortable with all of these things. Now, all that's left to do is mash those 17 fragments together into one summary exercise. Now, if you have bought the book, you will find there are many more summary exercises in there to really get your teeth into. Use these things as a diagnostic tool. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It's very useful to go through these things and make a note of any rhythms that tend to trip you up more than others, and then go back, work on those specific exercises for those fragments earlier in the season or earlier in the book, and then get them into your comfort zone to the same point that everything else is. So let's try that. We're going to take a break halfway through. It's quite a long exercise. We're going to take a 2-bar pause after the 4th line, and we'll see some new notation. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I might have just lied to you when I said that that was all there is to it, and I'm not really sorry for that. The other thing that we can do is take our fragments that we've looked at and add ties into the mix to add way more variety and terror to the 16th note possibilities. So that is exactly what we're going to start doing in the next episode, which is the final one of this series. It's going to look something like this.